All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out, Emeryville, Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by MarinAutoglass.com, as well as Underdog Fantasy and Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. All right, let's talk a little 49ers, a little update on this Monday. Number of topics on the table when it comes to the Niners. And the first one is that they announced the signing of former Raiders right tackle Brandon Parker. Brandon Parker is a huge right tackle, a veteran. For those wanting him to replace Colton McKivitz, that's not going to happen. Last time he played a full season was 2021. The numbers were not great. He played, according to PFF, 881 snaps. 878 of those 881 were at right tackle. He gave up 53 pressures, 12 hits allowed, 8 sacks, 9 penalties. So it's not, it's just more a veteran's gap filler. He'll be in camp to compete. Most likely he will not win the job, but there you go. Brandon Parker, the newest 49er offensive lineman, makes you wonder if they are going to draft guys in the draft along the offensive line, but you kind of wonder, are they going to do it right away? Are they trying to deprioritize the right tackle or offensive tackle in the first round? But Parker comes in and he'll give them a veteran body. So that one's kind of interesting. He's a big bodied guy. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's 6'6", 6'7", long arms. But he has just had mediocre success in the NFL, as those numbers indicate. And I can't imagine that he will be brought in as over a guy like Colton McKivitz, let alone over any kind of draft choice they come away with at tackle in the draft. But at least Parker gives them, a veteran with some NFL experience. That's really it. That's, I would say, the amount of buildup I would give Brandon Parker. He's not a star. He's not a starter. He's not, he's not like, to me, it's almost kind of replacing Pryor. Pryor was there as just kind of a veteran option, and this is kind of a veteran option. Not a good one, but a veteran option. So that's story number one in Niner land today. Story number two is that Mooney Ward has basically come out, and Tre'Davious replied to a tweet agreeing that former Bills cornerback Tre'Davious White, who's a free agent, would be a perfect fit on the Niners. He's like, Tre'Davious even went as far as saying to the Niner faithful, "Hey, we've got the same agent. If y'all want him, let me know." I think a lot of people would love to have Tre'Davious White if you're getting the player that he once was. It's all, how diminished is he by injury? He's had some major injuries. How close to the same player is he? I mean, if he's anything close to the player that he was at the apex of his career, you're talking about one of the best corners in pro football. You're talking about a guy who is really, really special. But we all know he's not that anymore. So then the question is, what exactly is he? And I don't know the answer to that. But Mooney Ward says, hey, if you want Tre'Davious White, Niner fans, he thinks he'd be a perfect fit on the Niners, and they have the same agent. And maybe Mooney can do something about getting Tre'Davious White on the team. The Niners have a bunch of corners. They just don't have that number one corner. And this guy used to be a number one corner, but he's no longer a number one corner. If you look at what the Niners currently have at corner, they have 7 corners. They have Mooney Ward, Ambry Thomas, Diamador Lenore, Samuel Womack, Darrell Luter Jr., Chase Lucas would be number 6, and then Isaac Yiadom, who they just signed from the Saints, would be number 7. Do the Niners have a need at corner? They don't necessarily have a depth need at corner. They have a need for a number one. Tre'Davious White, once upon a time, was a number one, but he's not that anymore. So, like, I think the Niners definitely are a viable team to trade for Patrick Surtain because I think they've got 10 draft picks and they only have a handful of needs. So, you know, that they could easily move 2 or 3 picks for Surtain. Will they? I don't know, but it's kind of set up for that. The Niners are kind of in a perfect spot for that. If they want to trade for Surtain, this would be their opportunity to do it. Maybe a first and a third this year and a second next year. And I bring up Surtain because that's what Tre'Davious White represents. He represents a number one corner, and they need a true number one corner, not a guy who used to be a number one corner. So I would say no to Tre'Davious White, but yes to any kind of trade involving Patrick Surtain Jr. All right, story number 3, and this is a really interesting one. According to reports, the 49ers will be forced to forfeit their 5th-round pick in next year's draft and will have their 2024 4th-round pick this year moved to the end of the 4th round. And this is a penalty coming straight from the league. This is due to a league review that discovered multiple administrative payroll accounting errors at the close of the 2022 calendar year. So obviously those were payroll errors that went in the Niners' favor, probably involving player personnel and changed things around as far as maybe their cap. I'm not sure, but this does not reflect well on Parag Marathe or any of the 49er business people on that side of the building. I mean, having the league take away a 5th-round draft choice, that's pretty severe. They're not doing that to anybody else. Having them move your 4th-round pick to the back of the 4th round, these are severe penalties. So these must have been somewhat severe payroll accounting errors. So that's not good. And I don't know who's to blame on that, but man, somebody should have to answer for that publicly, because that's negligence on the part of the Niner front office, and it maybe even shows poor faith in their dealings. So not good. That's the not good story of the day involving the 49ers. That's number 3. Number 4 on the stories of the update are Chase Young is no longer a Niner. He signs a 1-year, fully guaranteed $13 million deal with the Saints. According to sources, the Saints, already have their starting defensive ends, but this guy will probably act as their 3rd defensive end. I have no problem with this. Chase Young didn't play hard consistently. Man, when you're Cadillacing it in the NFL championship game, NFC championship game, you're not a fit for the culture. And if you are a fit, then the culture is bad. So I liked Leonard Floyd. I think Leonard Floyd is definitely an upgrade over Chase Young. And so today, officially, Chase Young jumped ship to the Saints. Good luck in New Orleans to Chase Young. And story number 5 on the 49er front is a rumor coming out that the 49ers may be close to trading for Zach Wilson as their 2nd-string quarterback behind Brock Purdy. The Jets are shopping him. There's talk that it may be for a late-round pick, a 6th or a 7th. To me, if that's the deal, I think it's a great deal. Zach Wilson for a 6th-round pick or a 7th-round pick, to me, is a better option than what Sam Darnold was this year. He's a better option than a rookie quarterback. I'd probably prefer to go with Carson Wentz and go with a veteran and save all the picks for other players. But I think I'd rather have Zach Wilson than just a rookie out of the draft. I mean, really, what is your interest in a backup quarterback at this point? You have Brock Purdy. What you don't want to have happen is have an injury happen to Brock Purdy, have him miss 4 or 5 games, and then lose all those games and miss the playoffs. So you want to have somebody who's kind of ready to roll and ready to play. And I think Zach Wilson is more ready to play than any rookie that they could find in this year's draft. Is he as ready as Carson Wentz? That's debatable. So I would say my first choice would be Carson Wentz, but my second choice would be Zach Wilson for a 6th or a 7th round pick or some pick swap, Zach Wilson in a 7th for a 6th, something along those lines. If that's, and then you pay him 5.4 million to be the number 2 quarterback, it's still a relatively cheap quarterback room. So that's the direction I would go. I like the idea. I think Zach Wilson's going to be good before it's all said and done. I really do. All right, that does it for the 49er update. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show. And once again, we are over 40,000 subs. So thanks to everybody who is supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.